Hey guys, and welcome to Faewood, and happy Valentine's Day to everyone. I thought I would get on here and do a really quick video today. I was chatting with one of my subscribers, Saber. Hi Saber, who's this really lovely girl who's been giving me all sorts of really great ideas actually for the channel, and I also thought it'd be nice to just get on here and do something a little bit slightly Valentine's-y as a bonus video. This is going to be going up I think on Saturday, so no one will be expecting this because I didn't get it done in time for Friday, but Saturday is Valentine's Day for a lot of you in the States. When I'm filming this, it's actually Valentine's Day today, so I'm going to be doing a really nice romantic dinner with my husband tonight, which is going to be really good. But yeah, so basically I thought I would come on here. I was chatting with Saber about some costumes that she's been putting together for her wedding, and then she's been doing all sorts of beadwork for her wedding dress and stuff, and I thought, oh, it would be really fun to kind of show you guys my wedding dress, because I did a lot of beadwork on my own wedding dress. I didn't make the dress because at that time I wasn't doing much sewing, and I don't even think I had a sewing machine because I got that afterwards, yeah. So I bought the dress, but it was a horrible experience actually. Buying that dress, it was my own personal Pretty Woman moment in a way, or at least that's what my friends refer to it as, because I don't know if it's the same overseas, but in Australia, if you want to go wedding dress shopping, you can't just walk into a shop. They expect you to make an appointment. And I had no idea about this, and my friends who were coming with me hadn't been married, so they didn't know either. So we just all assumed that, you know, what you do is you just go into some shops, you find some things that you like, you maybe try them on, and, you know, if you like them, you buy them. No, that is apparently not how it works. You can't just expect to try things on when you want. It's a whole big thing. So who knew? But yeah, so we went into a few different shops, and some of them, you know, we couldn't really try anything on because you had to make an appointment for later, and that was fine. And then this other shop was like available for letting me try things on, but they were really kind of rude about it. So I found this dress that I really loved, I think because from memory it was kind of whimsical looking, and which, big surprise, had a bunch of beadwork on it I think, and like it just looked really unusual. I didn't know what the price of it was, to be honest. I just wanted to just get a taste of what I like. So I thought I'll try a few things on that I'm gravitating to and see if, you know, there's a reason if that's a good dress for me. So I asked if I could try it on, thinking, you know, it's for sale, right? I can try it on. And she was like, you know that's $15,000, right? Like this, really rude. And my friends were sort of backing me up going, yeah, can she try it on? And she was like, oh, all right, you know, like, I guess so, kind of. Super, super rude. Made us wait a while to try it on, which fine, you know, we didn't have an appointment, but then I can't remember what else was said, but there was just these few other snide comments that she kept throwing out. She just wouldn't let it go, and it was just like, oh yeah, go over there. Like, it was all a bit too much. It was all a bit of a pain, and I'm like, this isn't what it's meant to feel like to try a wedding dress on. Like, this is meant to be a fun, awesome day where I feel beautiful and I try on wedding dresses, or at least that's what the movies had me believe. So I was like, what is this? And I ended up just like bailing. I was like, you know what, forget it. I don't want to try it on. Like, I don't even think she really realized that it was because of her being a cow, basically, that I was out of there. I was so upset. I was ready to call it. Like, I think that was the first shop that we potentially I was going to try anything on. So I was like, well, this is shit. You know, I don't want to try on dresses if this is what it's going to be like. I was talking about maybe ordering them online. It was, yeah, I was totally put off. And so we went and had lunch, and, you know, finally my friends convinced me to try it again. Because, yeah, I was just, I was just devastated at the feeling that I had about the day that I was trying on wedding dresses. It was not fun at all. Luckily, the next shop we went into, we picked a really small shop, and I think that helped as well. Like, it felt less intimidating. It seemed like it wasn't busy. We asked up front if I was able to try some things on. They were quite happy for me to do it. I was like, okay, all right, fine. I'll finally try some things on. They were so nice in there, and like, let me try whatever I like on. There was no like attitude about, because I did try a dress on that had a lot of beadwork on it and was expensive as well, just to get a feel for if I wanted to buy it. God, I did really want to buy it though. And for a little while I was like, you know, looking it up online and wishing I can't even remember the designer now, but it was like kind of flapper inspired and fully decked out with beads and so gorgeous. But it was more than I allocated for the wedding dress. So yeah, so I ended up trying on one of the dresses there. It was actually a sample dress, and I fell in love with it. It just, when I put it on, it just felt like the right dress. So let me hold it up and I'll show you the dress and some of the beadwork that I did on there. Okay, so it's sort of a bit of a mermaid style dress, I guess you would say. I think that's what they refer to it, and with that sweetheart neckline, strapless, and it has boning in it and stuff like that. It's got like heaps of beadwork on the top, and then it flares out just past the hips. So not complete mermaid, but, you know, sort of half mermaid. I don't know. I'm terrible with the terminology of the dresses, but flares out past the hips, which is sort of that half mermaid, half ball gown, I guess, because it's a little higher than some of the mermaid styles. And it did have some beadwork on it already, just some of the seed beads, like I think this, the stuff in there was already there, and just some of the little seed beads at the ends were there, and then I've added a whole bunch of additional seed beads because it was not everything had the beading on it, so I added all of that. I added this Swarovski thing down there. I added the chain. All of the foil back crystals I added on the back here, same sort of thing. So just adding to the beadwork, because it had the seed beading. I'll see if I can get it real close and show you. It had like these seed beading things in the middle of things, but then I've added like these crystals and stuff at the ends, and added more sections of seed beading that weren't there to really fill it out with beadwork. And this has a lining on it, so I could hide all the stitching, you know, in the lining, so you can't see any of the stitches that I did because of the lining. I used a Nemo thread because I like to use that for beadwork, and it's fine for material, like for costumes and stuff as well, to use that sort of thread on there. So yeah, so I didn't add any like backing or anything. This is very sturdy material. It didn't need any interfacing or anything, because all of that's probably in there already from the beadwork they added. So that's a good tip. If you've got a dress that's already got some beadwork on it, you can possibly, depending on the weight of the material, add some more beadwork to it without too much trouble, especially if it's got some boning to hold up the material structurally. And if it's got lining, it is tricky once it's already lined to do the beadwork and not have it show, because you have to be careful with each stitch so that you don't go all the way through. So it did take me a fair bit of time, even though it's not, I wouldn't consider this a great deal of beadwork in comparison to one of my necklaces. It still took me a fair bit of time because I was being ultra careful about every bit of placement because it was my wedding dress, and you know, this was cheaper than a lot of other wedding dresses, but not cheap. So like it still was, you know, I think I got this for $900, which for a wedding dress is a great price, especially like it's a very nice quality wedding dress, and it has got a big train at the back and everything as well. So you know, I didn't want to rush it, and I would lock myself away in a little room while I beaded, and Dan wasn't allowed to go in the room obviously to see the wedding dress. So you know, we'd have dinner together and then I'd be like, you know, bye honey, and then run off and lock myself. And I didn't have anywhere to really do beadwork at that time. Like I have a studio now, but at that time I had to do my beadwork on our bed. Just because I had nowhere to lay a dress out or anything. I did have a small studio at that time, but it was smaller than really a home office. It was, you know, you couldn't really, like, this wouldn't fit sort of laid. I could possibly have laid it on the floor, but even then you wouldn't have been able to open the door very well. It was tiny. So I'm very spoilt now having a very nice studio. So yeah, so I did a lot of beading on there, and you know, was very careful with the placement. Some of it's gone a bit yellowed now, unfortunately. I'm not sure why these crystals in particular, these larger kind of teardrop ones, have yellowed a fair bit, which is a pain. I could always snip those off and replace those with something else though. And there is a little bit of tarnishing on this. It's sterling silver, and unfortunately, as much as sterling silver is a more precious metal than say your base metals and stuff, it's a pain in the bum because it's always tarnishing. So you know, it's almost better for you to use a base metal really, because in material, like in clothing and costumes and stuff, it's a real pain if it starts to tarnish. To try and polish that up afterwards, it's tricky. You'd have to get in there with just a little cotton bud and a tiny bit of silver potentially and do it that way, but you know, you've got potential to wreck your material if you do that, so it's probably best to maybe err away from that. And yeah, but you know, I just wanted what I wanted. So I really loved the look of it though, and it was like, and I do love how it came out. It looks really good, the finished product. And yeah, I did some beadwork on the train as well. I'll try and hold that up. So that's the train, and yeah, there is a little bit of beadwork on this. I did add some crystals to the bottom here, but I did run out of time to get that really heavily beaded, and also I figured it was sort of running along the ground and things, so I didn't want to kind of go too nuts with the beading for that particular part, because trains can easily get damaged, they can get stepped on, that sort of thing. So I could have done more, but this gives you a bit more of an idea of like what that top part looked like, which was more sparsely beaded. I think though there was maybe a few more beads at the top part originally from memory, because I know I did add some seed beads, but a lot of the seed beads were on the top part, and then this part was a bit more, you know, basically beaded. And then these little shoes, so love these. They're so filthy because, you know, we went and had photos taken and in the garden, as you do, and they got pretty messed up, and it's like a satin material which, you know, stains just, you know, you can't wipe them off, they just get stained really bad. But I don't know, I was thinking of maybe trying to dye them or something like that so that I can get some use out of them, because I haven't been wearing them because of all the staining and stuff, so that's a shame. But Yeah. Oh, and I'll just mention the dress is Eternal Bridal. And it definitely needs a dry clean. It's become a little bit yellowed and stained and things, unfortunately, and I haven't taken it to get dry cleaned. It's just sat in its dress bag, so yeah, it's something that's probably worth me going and getting this professionally cleaned. Can be a little bit tricky with beadwork though. Some places won't touch it if it's got beadwork on it. So I thought it'd be fun to show you guys my wedding dress for Valentine's Day. Something a little bit romantic, a little bit creative. Maybe it will inspire some of you to try doing some beadwork on your own dress. You don't necessarily have to make a dress to do some beadwork on it, as you see. Like, that's exactly what I did. I bought the dress and I knew I wanted more beadwork on it, and I just took my time with it, you know, and added the things that I liked on there and made it my own, and it makes it a bit special as well because you did it yourself. So and speaking of doing things yourself, one of the ideas that Sabre had, she's had so many amazing ideas, and some of them I may do in the future, but for now let's do this one because I thought it was great. She mentioned, you know, maybe doing a hashtag for Instagram for anyone that wants to share any of their work, and particularly if you're inspired by one of the videos that you've watched and you've tried it yourself, or just if you want to share some work that you've been doing, because I know some of you've sent me emails with some of your work. I've had a couple of messages through Facebook and things like that of people's work, and it's always really fun to see everybody see all their work, and this way you guys could share it amongst yourselves as well. So the hashtag she suggested was hashtag Faewood inspired, and yeah, I thought that was great because it would be really nice to see all of the things that you guys make, and really cool if like you actually try some of the stuff that I've shown on videos or whatever, or you've just made something because something that I've created has inspired you. So yeah, give that a go. Share something on Instagram, and then anyone else watching can go and have a look at everybody's work as well. And who knows, maybe in the future I'll share some of it on my channel. But I thought for now, let's just share some of it on Instagram with that hashtag so that we can all go in, myself included, and see what work you guys are all getting up to. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm just doing a really brief video today, so I hope you guys have a wonderful Valentine's Day and you're able to share it with a loved one. And if you're not, you know, give a friend or a family member a call and maybe share the love that way. And failing all of that, share it with me. Screw the rest of them. Let's have Faewood Valentine's Day together. Okay, well, all the best, everyone. I'll see you next time in Faewood. Bye, guys.